Hi, beautiful friends. Laurel Bleadon-Maffei here with Illuminating Souls. Today is April 2nd, and it's been a while since I have done a coronavirus conversation. A lot has happened since my last one, and so I'm guided to come here to you today to share a little bit more about where we are and some of the things that I see happening, and also how to help you get prepared. So take a deep breath in with me. We'll invite the angels in to bring soothing, healing, comforting love energy to you as we have this conversation together. It's hard to believe that my first video about this came out less than a month ago. A month ago, I felt kind of vulnerable sharing about this because this wasn't something that was on everybody's radar yet. And I remember less than a month ago that people were saying it's just the flu and shaming people who are getting ready and prepared. And I'm really hopeful that these conversations have been helping you find your center and get prepared for what we are in the midst of. So I want to share with you a couple of tips or a couple of insights that my husband and I have been having in hopes that it will help you in the months to come. So I hope that by now you can sense that we are in this for the long haul. Yes, that this is not just magically going to be over by the middle of May. This is going to last many, many, many months. And I do not see how we get out of this in less than a year. It doesn't necessarily mean that we will be in this heightened state of activity the entire year. You know, those who study such things are hoping there will be some kind of lull over the summer. We don't know yet. Remember, this is a new virus. We are learning every day how it acts and how it reacts with us. So we don't know yet. So I want you to really think about what you need to do to prepare for that. If when you go grocery shopping, I know they're telling us not to hoard, and I'm not encouraging you to hoard, but still, when you go, perhaps buy more shelf-stable food than you normally would. So you do have a little bit extra, so you do have a little bit of a buffer, just so that you and your family are prepared. If you remember in one of my early videos, it might be the first one, I encouraged you to start to make sure that all of your prescription medications were current. Please still do that. With my insurance provider, usually I would have been able to order a refill on my prescriptions this past week. When I went on to refill my prescriptions, they pushed my refill date out 8 days. Now, it's not a big deal. I always make sure I have plenty of my prescriptions, but I am noticing a change in their refill cycle, probably to keep up with demand and because there aren't as many pharmacists working. So make sure your prescription meds are filled as soon as you can get them filled so you have them. Another thing, and I think we talked about this in the last video, please consider if you do have the outdoor space to plant a vegetable garden. This will help keep you in produce throughout the summer. I also want to make the recommendation that you buy seeds that you can store somewhere. So if there is an interruption to the agriculture supply chain, that you are able to grow. In World War II, they called them victory gardens, a garden. And I will tell you already, I think it's hard to get some seeds. My husband and I went to our local home improvement store about 10 days ago, and we were still able to buy some plants, which you can kind of see in the background here. We're still tending to them. And we also were able to buy a few seeds, not a lot. I noticed that some online places are delayed in shipping. I'm not telling you this to cause you a panic. I think most people aren't looking for seeds yet. So if you go online or go to your local home improvement store, if you have to go there anyways, I'm not asking you to break your self-isolation, but just a tip, if you can, do get some seeds. and maybe some potting soil and things like that. Or if you can get plants, get some plants so that you will have fresh vegetables throughout the summer. And then maybe you can can them or something if you know how to do those things, and share them with your neighbors. So this is one way to keep yourself in fresh produce when the summer comes. Another suggestion I want to offer to you, this is one that my husband came up with. One of the things that is there are many things that are disturbing about this. And one of the things that's disturbing is if our loved ones have to go to the hospital, if they get sick from this and have to go to the hospital. In normal circumstances, we would be able to go with them. Yes, if God forbid my husband had to go to the hospital, I would go with him and I could be his advocate, and I could make sure the nurses and doctors knew all the idiosyncrasies. We all have our own medical histories. And in this kind of circumstance, that will not be possible. So what we have chosen to do is to get some medical alert bracelets made, or medical alert necklace. So normally in normal circumstances, we wouldn't wear them, but we're getting them made now so that if God forbid something happens and our loved one can't come with us to the hospital, that there will be something on our wrist or around our neck that says, this is my name, these are the medical conditions you need to know about, this is the phone number of my loved one. Because if there is if any of us, God forbid, have to go into one of these medical facilities that are overwhelmed and overloaded, we want to make it as easy as possible on the medical care providers to get our information quickly. So that's just a tip. You don't have to do it. I haven't heard anybody else talking about this, and this one is my husband's, and I thought, well, that's a really good idea. Um, the other thing I will mention is, and this sounds so incongruent, I'm an empath, and I work in the language of energy sometimes, and I had been so tired and overwhelmed and emotional, and I don't know what happened, but yesterday something lifted, and I actually kind of felt bright and shiny, and I had energy, and it was so incongruent based on what I know is happening in the world. And again, today, I still feel this brightness with me. And I kind of asked the angels what that was about. I know that I've been asking for clearing. It's not necessarily that I'm hopeful. I wouldn't say that. I don't know. I almost feel like we've reached a tipping point. I think for the first so I've been navigating this since the end of January. So it's been 2 months for me. And I think for the majority of that time, I felt this urgency to tell people about this, to get people on board, to help people get prepared, that I felt like the town crier, like, come on, come on, come on, we got to get in the groove. And meanwhile, the messages we were receiving from leadership, at least here in the United States, was not a big deal. It's just the flu. And I'm not wanting to get into an argument about that, but it's sort of like I felt this urgency to let people know. And it's almost like yesterday I took this big breath in and I thought, okay, everybody knows now. Like that part of it, is done. Whether we did the right thing or the wrong thing, whether we should have taken action sooner, all the anger over that, it's like it's done. It's done. It can't be undone at this point. So now we are where we are, and we all have the information we need to move forward. We may not have the resources, but I don't know. For me, in some ways, there was this like this energy lifted. Like, okay, whew, everyone now knows they need to get in their lifeboats, and they can choose into their lifeboats, and we'll see where we go from here. It doesn't mean that I still don't have fear and grief and all of that around it, but somehow the intensity got dialed down for me a lot yesterday. I'm not saying it won't go back up. This is a roller coaster. And the other thing that I'm feeling around this is a hard reset. And there's hardship that comes along with that. So this is not me painting a bright, rosy picture. My heart is with everyone who is suffering because of this, and even just the kind of the minute level. I don't know about you, but I think about all the parts of the rhythm of my lifestyle that are changed. Like I would go every 2 or 3 weeks and get my nails done. I would go every 5 weeks and get my hair done. And I'm not telling you this because I'm vain about my hair or my nails. I could care less about those things at this point. But I think about the lovely gentleman that does my nails. Right? I was just one of his regular customers. I would go in there every 2 or 3 weeks. He'd, put gorgeous nails on me and I would pay him. And I think about the lovely woman who does my hair. I would go in every 4 to 5 weeks and she would touch up my roots so I didn't have to deal with gray, and I would pay her. And I think about there's two different Indian restaurants in our town that I love that Wes and I would go to once a week or so. And we know the owners now, you become friendly with the vendors who you work with. And we're not ordering in right now. It's not just a financial issue. We're kind of concerned about the food chain, and I think about them and I think, my whatever it would be, 20, 25, $30 I would spend isn't going to them now. And so I worry for all of the people in our lives like that, whether you brought your dry cleaning in, whether it was your favorite restaurant, whether it's the person who does your hair, your nails, cleans your house. We all do that. We have our communities of suppliers and vendors and caregivers that we work with. And if you are one of those and your revenue stream has abruptly shut down, I'm sending you so much love, and I'm hoping that whatever financial support that the local government where you are is putting in place and that your community can help you with. We're seeing a lot of people sort of reinventing how they show up. I'm watching our local restaurants here um, begin to, and I'm sure they're doing this near where you are. They're selling toilet paper and eggs and food and yeast and baking powder and the kinds of things that people don't want to go out to the store for, or when you go to the store you can't find them, that some of the local restaurants are now selling that because there's still things they can get from their suppliers. So it's this hard reset, and it's this opportunity for all of us to reinvent. So if you're sitting home and your rhythm of life is interrupted, it's not about that you need to be really productive, but there is spaciousness. This is almost in some ways, not for all of us. I know for the healthcare workers, all of the essential workers who are still in it, for the teachers, there's for many people, they are still having to work, you know, at a deeper effort and a deeper level of commitment than they did before. But for others of us, there has been spaciousness opened up. Yes, if you are one of those who's sitting home now, maybe you haven't had an opportunity to be home like this in years. It's almost like this self-imposed sabbatical, and to make space to listen to what is seeking to be born through you, not out of this need to be productive and make the most of it, because that's all will focused, but more in the quiet and in the spaciousness, which perhaps you haven't had in a long, long time, to begin attuning to the knowingness within you. Is this an opportunity for you to blossom in to something you did not have space for before? As I said, we are going to be in this for many, many months. Again, it may shift from time to time, but I really do feel like our supply chain will be deeply impacted, and this is going to go on for a while. So at this point, we have started acclimating and expanding to this new reality. It takes time to acclimate to new reality and to changes in the landscape. And the last few weeks have given us the opportunity to begin to do that. And so we begin settling into a new normal that is not normal at all. But there's this resiliency within each one of us. It's within us to evolve. That's what life does. We evolve. So to give yourself permission to activate the divine code within you that is resilient, that is ever evolving, so that you can expand your consciousness and open up to opportunities that are being presented to you that were not there before. Now, this may not be the appropriate wisdom for everyone. If you are a healthcare worker and you are working 12-hour shifts and you have a single mask, your bandwidth is consumed with your work and having to show up and being one of the heroes of our society. So this opportunity to blossom into the sabbatical and what is seeking to be born is probably not your message in this moment. Your message is, please do everything you can to take good care of yourself. And if you need to take a day off here and there, if you need to have a good cry, if you need support, please reach out to your community. Please reach out to those who love you. Do not bear this alone. This is for all of us to bear. This is not for you to bear alone. This is for all of us to bear. So if we are your friends, if we are your family, please reach out to us. Don't hold back. Don't try to protect us from what is going on. Share. Share so we can hold space for you. And take a breath. So if you are one who has a lot of space now, a lot of empty time, this is your opportunity to breathe into that. If you are overwhelmed, if you are overloaded, if you are a grocery store clerk, if you are a healthcare worker, if you're an essential worker, share your burden with those of us who have extra space. We will hold space for you. It's the least we can do for what you are going through. So a little bit of a ramble here today. I hope this is helpful. I'm sending you so much love. Remember, we are in this together. And I love you very much. And take care. We'll talk again soon. Thank you.